April 12, 1912. The RMS Titanic, hailed as the unsinkable ship, sunk on its maiden voyage. Tragically, this resulted in the loss of 1,501 lives. Even today, this disaster carries on claiming lives. Many movies and popular media have been published about it, and we all know roughly what took place on that fateful day, thanks to the slightly famous movie, which printed a slightly large amount of money. However, what most don't know is the impact globally of this Titanic disaster and the immediate aftermath. The sinking of the Titanic led to changes in maritime regulations. However, first let's clear some things that you might have heard about the Titanic. Contrary to popular belief, the Titanic had more lifeboats than that were legally required. However, this doesn't mean it was safe due to certain reasons. It carried 20 lifeboats, while regulations only required 16 lifeboats for ships over 10,000 tons. However, the Titanic weighed 450,000 tons. The regulations remained the same, therefore leading to the fact that there was not enough boats for the number of passengers. This led to the formation of SOLAS, or Safety of Life at Sea, a year later from the sinking, which is still held to this day. SOLAS implemented many new safety regulations. For example, all ships should carry enough lifeboats for everyone. Today, the SOLAS requirement is 125% of a ship's capacity. Furthermore, SOLAS led to formation and funding of the International Ice Patrol that will keep on monitoring and reporting on all North Atlantic icebergs to prevent anything like this happening again. What about the impact on culture? Western society was devastated by the sinking, and the public demand for information often turned violent. Even in Eastern countries, whilst not as grief-stricken, the Titanic still made major headline news. The Titanic was a 9/11 of the early 20th centuries, an earth-shaking event only eclipsed and put aside by the Great War. To the person of those times, the Titanic could be whatever you wanted it to be, whenever you wanted it to be. For the Irish, it was fuel for the anti-Protestant movement and the bubbling tension of the Home Rule movement. Suddenly, the Titanic sinking was because the anti-Catholic built in her. Her yard number, 390,904, was seen as no pope when placed in the mirror. It didn't matter this wasn't actually Titanic's yard. The expulsion of thousands of Catholic shipbuilders out of Holland or Wolf the day before the Titanic sailed didn't help matters. "Hell with Pope" was also reportedly scrawled on Titanic's scaffolding by Philip Gibbs, a distinguished English journalist. For the Patriots, the Titanic represented a powerful symbol of nobility, an embodiment of English identity. The heroes were exclusively British, while foreigners were the villains deceiving themselves into lifeboats. For the traditionalists, the Titanic served a compelling example on why gender equality was not deemed appropriate. Men became gentlemen, sacrificing themselves gallantly for women. This was seen as evidence against the suffragettes movement, pushing for equal rights, and on it went. Let's now talk about some of the people in the Titanic at the moment of its sinking. The Titanic was filled with some of the most influential people of the 20th century, consisting of business magnates, army officials, athletes, artists, and actors. John Jacob Astor, the wealthiest passenger of the Titanic, was the head of the Astor family, that for more than a century was the richest and most politically powerful family in America. He had a personal fortune of approximately $150 million, which is around $4.7 billion nowadays when you take into account inflation. These titans of industry were known by name in a way which you don't really know today, with exceptions such as Elon. The people wanted news of them, which is shown by the domination of newspaper headlines. Vincent Astor, on hearing about his father's death, suddenly became one of the richest men in the world. He dropped out of Harvard and dedicated his life to charity and philanthropy, taking losses along the way. He eventually established the Vincent Astor Foundation, whose stated goal was the alleviation of human misery. Much of New York today, cultural institutions and neighbourhoods are thanks to this man, so fair play. Titanic truly was unique in how it changed the world with its demise. It is very hard to be factual in what is essentially the butterfly effect, but the argument can be made that without the death of John Jacob Astor, New York City and its cultural institutions would have been very different today. The increased regulations, which even in 2007, when the MS Explorer hit an iceberg, all the passengers were able to be saved. Without this tragic event, who knows what the world would be like today? I guess that's just the effect of the butterfly.